So we're going to look at how to add up all the numbers to find a total when you are dealing with line plot. So let's look at this example. We have our line plot here. And the question is, what is the total length in inches of all 10 insects? Well, we have one insect at 1/8 of an inch, one at 2/8, two insects at 3/8, one at 4/8, three that are 5/8 inches long, one that is 7/8, and one that is a whole inch long. So what we need to do in a case like this is add up each of these lengths. So because we have three insects that are 5/8 inches long, we're going to need 3 sets of 5/8. So I took those fractions and I already wrote out the equation for us. So, oopsie. So let's look. Well, this is not cooperating. Okay, so we have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 3/8, 4/8, etc. And we need to add all of these up. So there's two ways that we could do this. The first way is to add up each of our numerators, okay, so that we put it over 8 and then add our whole number. Okay, so I would probably start with my 7, and I would probably put these in groups. So let's do that together. So I would probably take these 3 and say 1 plus 2 is 3, plus another 3 is going to give me 3/8. And the reason I choose to chunk it is because if I add up all of these single numbers, I'm going to make a mistake, just because I know myself. Okay, so then I'm going to take 3/8 plus 4/8. I keep my denominator, and I end up with 7/8. Oops, nobody told me I made a mistake over here, because I'm by myself. Okay, 1 plus 2 plus 3 is actually 6. There we go. Good thing I double checked myself, right? Okay, I'm going to add up all 3 of my 5s. 5, 10, 15. So we end up with 15 eighths. And then I will bring down my 7/8 by itself. And I will remember to bring down my whole number just so we don't forget it. So I'm going to write that here. Put my addition signs in so I don't forget what I'm doing. Okay, now 6 plus 7 is 13. So we have 13 eighths. 15 plus 7. Well, if I'm not sure, I can write it down, right? So let's do that over here. 15, 7. Add those together. 5 plus 7 is 12. Regroup my 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 15 plus 7 is 22. So here we have 22 eighths. And then don't forget about our 1 because we don't want to leave him hanging by himself. I'm not done yet. I still need to add these two fractions. I'm going to have to add 13 plus 22. We're going to do that again over here. I'm going to make myself a little note so that I don't make an error that I could avoid. Okay, so 3 plus 2 is 5. 1 plus 2 is 3. So I now have 30. Work with me. 30. 5, eighths plus 1. And I'm going to leave my 1 over here because I still need to change this fraction from an improper fraction into a mixed number. And we don't have room to do it here, so we'll add a slide. Okay, and we had, so we had 35 eighths plus 1. And remember, we're still trying to figure out how long all of the insects are. If we lined them up one after another, how long would that line be? Okay, so we need to convert our improper fraction to a mixed number. So we are going to divide our numerator by our denominator. Okay, because that's really what a fraction is. So I will switch colors over here just so we know what we're doing. Okay, and I'm going to draw out my division equation so that I know what I'm doing. Okay, so 8 goes into 35 how many times without going over? Or we're also thinking, how many groups of 8 are in 35? If I'm not sure, I can count down here to help me. 8, 16, 24, 32. You guys will write neater than I do. And 40. Okay, so I know 35 is in between 32 and 40, so I can't have this many. So now I'm going to count my groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 groups of 8 in 32. So I have 4 wholes in 35. So 8 times 4 is 32. I'm going to write down my 32. And now we subtract. 5 minus 2 equals 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. So now my remainder becomes my numerator. And my divisor, the number I'm dividing by, becomes my denominator because that was what we had before. So now we know 35 eighths is the same as 4 and 3 eighths. So we have 4 and 3 eighths plus 1, right? Because we had one insect that was a whole inch long. which equals 5 3/8 inches. Okay, so we go back to our first slide. And what would be the total of all 10 insects? Well, we said it was 5 3/8. And our label is inches. Okay? That's one way to do it. Another way we can do it is by making groups of ones with our fractions. So let's erase this and show the other strategy. So the way we would do that is we would look at our fractions that we have written out. Okay. And we know if we want to make ones, we need 8/8, correct? Right? Any number over itself equals 1. So we would have 8/8. So I would go over to my fractions and decide which 2 fractions or 3 fractions I could put together to get 8. Okay, so if I have 1/8 plus 7/8, I made 1, because 1 plus 7 is 8, and that would be 8/8. So I have 1. So I can circle them or cross them out. I'm going to keep switching colors just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I hope that'll help. So now I'm going to be looking for another group of numbers that could give me 8. So I know that 3 plus 5 equals 8. So I have 3/8 plus 5/8 gives me another 1. I'm going to cross these guys out because I used them. Okay, I have another 3 and 5. So 3/8 and 5/8 gives me another 1. I'm going to cross those out. Okay, let's see. I have a 2/8, a 4/8, and a 5/8 left. So I'm going to circle those. I cannot get an easy number out of that, can I? But I know 5 plus 4 equals 9, plus 2 more is 11, plus 11 eighths. And don't forget this guy over here, right? We need this whole, plus 1. So now let's take a look. How many wholes do we have? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 whole numbers. So now we have 4 plus 11 eighths. Well, 11/8 is easier to convert than we had before, correct? So we know that if we make this a division equation, 11 divided by 8, we know we have one group. So 11 minus 8 equals 3. So we have one more whole, and then we still have 3 is our remainder, so that is our numerator. And 8, we keep our denominator. Okay, so we have, this then becomes 4 plus 1 and 3/8, which is the same as 4 plus 1, that equals 5, and our 3/8. So remember, we can make our list and add them all up, okay, or we can look for two fractions that would give us a whole, such as 7/8 plus 1/8, 3/8 plus 5/8. That's just another strategy. Okay, but the key to remember is when we have to add them all up, we need to find the total length. It would be like putting them each end to end to end. Okay, lining each little insect up until we made one long line, 5 3/8 inches. Okay, I hope that helps. Thanks.